So here's something I've been working on recently. This is a compressed natural gas powered blowtorch. So in here we've got just natural gas like you get into your house for the gas main, and it's it. I don't know what that looks like to me. It's about 45 bar. And I just compressed it in using a refrigeration compressor. So we'll light it up and see how well it performs. So I've just got it very gently clamped in the vise here. The torch bit itself, that's something I built that totally myself, just out of a bit of steel tube. And I just found a shroud piece, which actually used to be a liquid line accumulator out of a fridge, and I just cut the two ends off it. So now it's sort of like, it just fits on the end, and I've just stuffed it inside with steel wool. I've got a small lighter over there that I made. So I'll get it on. As you can see, it burns really nicely. The shroud piece on the end is very important, because if you don't have that on the end, then the flame will just blow out very, very easily. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to exchange this old propane tank here. It's a 19 kilogram one, and I'll just run it on propane instead, because I'll be able to transfer propane in there. This, I think it's an air tank, which is designed to hold, it's designed to be filled up to almost 200 bar. Well, that's the inside of the torch there. It's just been stuffed with steel wool. That's all there is to it. The valve on this tank is actually like a pressure regulator as well. It doesn't give you the full pressure, it just seems to regulate the flow, which is another good thing. And the small hole which the gas comes through is actually just a piece of refrigeration capillary, and it just extends just past the air holes. And the gas comes in there at quite high pressure, and that uses the Venturi effect to suck the air through and mixes the gas in the air. And I'm sure it'll run on propane no problem as well. But I thought with the way that natural gas burned, it wouldn't work too well on a torch. But I'm not too sure about how you get the propane at the petrol station. I think you just go down and exchange it. You just go into the bit where you pay, and I think you talk to them about it or something. But I'm actually going to go up to a caravan park and see if I could get it there. I was quoted £35 to exchange this. This has got compressed natural gas in it as well. Before I exchange it, I'll try and use all that up. And this is a compressor I was using to compress it. The gas would just come in there, and what would happen is it would get compressed. Now this compressor could go up to 40 bar easily, but when compressed it to 40 bar, I had it actually connected up to this tank here, and I had the gas going into the compressor at maybe about 10 or 20 psi, and by doing that, you're reducing the amount of heat of compression. It doesn't heat up as much. The motor does work a lot harder, but the thing is, it's not going to heat up the valve head as much, because that's what happened on another compressor I had. It's compressing low pressure gas up to about 30 or 40 bar, and that's obviously going to have more heat rather than just compressing it from 20 psi up to that pressure. It helps quite a bit. So what would happen is that end's just sealed off. This is the output, and I've got just an old filter dryer out of fridge on there, and that separates the oil. Any oil that comes out, I just drain off there, and I would connect the tanks that I'm filling onto there. Propane tanks are usually, I think they're tested up to very high pressures. I think over 400 psi anyway, but the maximum pressure you'll usually encounter in a propane tank is 200 psi, and I think that's about 40 degrees Celsius. But I think I've only filled this one to about 240 or 250. No, sorry, not that high, 150. That's as high as I've filled this. And the oil that I'm using is just automatic transmission fluid, that's all I had. And yes, it does reek of gas, but it doesn't seem to be breaking down or anything. Just yet, anyway. The strange thing I noticed is, when I've been compressed into this tank, the gas has actually been losing quite a lot of its smell. And I think that's maybe because I cleaned the inside of this tank out with alcohol, because I had been using this as an air tank and I had water in it. So I put alcohol in it, and the gas coming out of this has hardly any smell at all. So it's like it's absorbed in my carpeting somehow. And the thing with the propane tank is, when it was full to about 150 psi, the gas just smelled like it would normally smell as it would come in to your house. But then as the pressure went down, it began to smell like the propane, smelled more like propane, because it has a slightly different smell. But before I filled this, I made sure to suck all the air out of it. I actually used 2 refrigeration compressors in series for that, and I sucked all the air out before I did it, and made sure everything was purged, because that's an important safety thing you need to do.